We are Makilala TV, the first Filipino-American TV talk show in the New York metro area. Get to know us as we talk to the community leaders, innovators, advocates, and emerging artists who affect Filipino-American life.
While world leaders and politicians are meeting in summits on how to save the planet, it is young people who are doing the work on the ground and keeping up the pressure. Swedish environmental activist Greta Thunberg is one powerful voice who has been mobilizing people her age to speak out against environmental abuse since she was 15. This year's summit featured a 15-year-old Earthshot Prize finalist from India, Vinisha Umashankar, who designed a solar-powered mobile ironing cart. This young generation, because they are the heirs to the future, are holding society and older generation accountable for the kind of world they would be leaving their children. Our guests today are young advocates for a green earth, and they too are speaking out. They are calling for a more responsible lifestyle and more doable climate actions like recycling, conserving energy, reviving our oceans, planting trees, to name a few. Casey Giles is a young author from Texas who has written two sci fi novels at the age of 13. Casey's goal is to impact and inspire creativity through her story. Riley Villazor is a vocal major at Fiorello LaGuardia, a performing arts high school in Manhattan. She has participated in many rallies advocating green causes with her family. Also with us today is Chabio Sison, who works with students and scholars in her capacity as president of the alumni chapter of Generosa de Leon Memorial College in Parañaque, Philippines. Together with my co-hosts Rachelle Ocampo and Cristina Pastor, I'm Jen Fiora and welcome to Makilala TV.
Hi, I'm Angel Navarro and I stand protecting our planet. Hinikayat ko ang mga kabataan na tulad ko na magtanim ng mga puno at pangalagaan ang ating inang kalikasan. Always reuse, reduce, and recycle.
So, my first question, aside from raising awareness, do you really think there is hope for people to make a change, or do you think planet Earth is doomed? Let's start with Riley.
I think we have to believe that there's a chance, you know? I mean, like, if we just think that it's doomed, then we're not really going to do anything, are we? So, we have to believe that what we're doing is going to do something and make a difference.
I like that. What about you, Casey?
I think that on an individual level, there isn't much that we can do, but we can help support bigger organizations and we can raise awareness towards climate change and pollution so that together we'll have more optimism towards a better future rather than a pessimistic view.
I like all the positivity. What about you, Cavio? I know you deal with a lot of kids with the ABC program in the Philippines.
Yes.
What do you think?
I think there's hope, of course. We love the earth. People are together working on saving the earth. There's initiative all over the world, including the Philippines, of course. And there will always be hope so that the next generation would enjoy the earth.
Good.
I have a question for Riley and Casey. I don't know who wants to start, but I'd like to know, what are you doing in your own little way, in your own lives, to help care for the planet? Maybe Riley. Riley, would you like to start?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, just like off the top of my head,
Yeah, off the top of your head.
I use these search engines because after going virtual, I was online a lot, and there's these search engines like Ecosia and Ocean Hero, and basically what they do, like every search you do, they'll take a piece of plastic out of the ocean or they'll plant a tree. I mean, it's just something small, but it at least makes me feel like I'm helping in some way.
So I guess you don't use plastics when you go grocery shopping. You turn off the light when you leave the room. Things like that. I just
Okay.
wanted to know. I'm curious what you guys do.
Yeah, I mean, I went vegan for a while, which is very great. I definitely recommend it. Um, and then like I don't know, maybe Casey wants to
Yeah,
give
Casey, would you like to add to that?
examples.
Mhm. So at home, we recycle, we reuse plastic water bottles instead of buying more. And we reuse water as well. We go out to this place called Water Tree, and they give us
Oh,
filtered water instead of going to the store and just getting bottles and bottles of plastic water.
oh.
And we use non-toxic cleaning products so that it's not polluting our water
Mhm.
systems as well.
Yeah, yeah. That's interesting. Do you guys use electric vehicles or are you still on gas?
We're still on gas because in Houston, it's so big that you can't go anywhere without a car. But I do recommend walking or biking if you can.
That's great. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, I feel
Jen?
like that I
What about
I
you, Rochelle?
yeah, I feel like that I've been more just I recognize where I can make it. I feel like that I can make a difference, which is like doing reusable bottles, reusable straws, uh,
Mhm.
trying to walk when I can. But it's hard because in the back of your mind, I'm like, does this really make a difference?
It
Can I
does. It does. If everybody thinks that way, right?
yeah, yeah. But sometimes we think in the back of your mind, like, does it really make a difference? And for me, I do try to encourage, reusable bottles at least,
Mhm.
and bringing it to work instead of reusing the that the my job's cups, plastic cups. So
Plastic.
yeah, it's those little things that I think that we can all make a difference. But I am definitely gonna look up that website, Riley, and um Casey, for that water filter, is it free
It's not free, but it's not really expensive either.
compared to getting like water bottles from
No, it's a good alternative.
okay,
Yeah.
I
good.
know those water bottles is like the main like I get angry when I see water bottles. Because they're like you use them one time and then that's it.
But you can
And
reuse. Yeah, you can
and
reuse
then
them.
when you go to the beach during the summer, I feel I get angry when I see people don't pick up the trash. I mean, simple
Yeah.
things. I think we could.
I think I think in Boracay, Cabio, correct me if I'm wrong. I think in Boracay they have this pick up your trash campaign, and
Yes.
I think everybody's doing it. I mean, the people who
Yeah.
go there, the tourists, the locals, they do it. They observe it, which is a great thing, right, Cabio?
Yes. Yes. In fact, there was I think last year or 2 years ago when they
Mhm.
stopped operating Boracay for
Hmm.
tourists and just to restore it. And then now they have opened the Boracay for tourists now, and people are more conscientious,
Yeah,
picking up their trash.
that's right.
And when they leave the beachfront, they have to carry all um, the liters that they brought along with them. So that's a
That's
good start actually when they close down Boracay. So they
hmm
are also doing it for other um, tourist beaches. They will close it down so that it would be able to restore
yeah.
its um, ecosystem.
hmm Good, good.
That's actually a good
Yeah,
start for the government to do.
yeah.
I mean, I
In
wish
fact,
there's like a way for young creative minds to invent something. Like one of the reasons why we're doing this is like I got so inspired by this 15-year-old from India who figured out a way to make a difference, like creating this solar powered ironing card. I wish in school, I mean, I don't know, the high school kids that we have here, what kind of class, what kind of classes do they have that encourage you to be innovative? Do they have anything like that?
in the
Riley or Casey?
Philippines.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I go to a performing arts high school, so they're always encouraging us to be creative and just like, just try something new and always move forward. So in that way, they're doing that, but
Mhm.
it's not exactly like um, we have classes about how to be more um, to how to help the environment, but we do have a lot of clubs. Like there's at least three that I know that are like all about circular fashion or cleaning up our beaches. Like
Mhm.
so. I definitely think that the student body itself is very into protecting the environment. But our school there isn't anything really specific.
Mhm.
What about you, Casey?
At our school, we don't really have classes either that focus on that. However, a lot of students are into protecting the earth, and I'm pretty sure we have a club where they planted trees at some point. But overall, there isn't much awareness raised in the school.
Yeah, you
So
mentioned planting trees. I mean, as simple as that one. I mean, I don't know. Maybe we should teach Alex, Rochelle, how to start planting trees.
yeah, we should. We're actually going to go hiking this weekend, so we're probably going to see some opportunity to teach him that. I actually am curious. So Jen mentioned what triggered her to build this episode for us. What was the turning point for our three guests to get involved in climate change?
Could start Cabio.
Actually, in our alumni, we were encouraged to really work on this, be more environment environmental friendly. So last time we actually um, grouped together so that we will be able to help and do the clean up in Manila Bay. So most of the alumni went there together with their family so
Mhm.
that we will help in the call of the government to clean up Manila Bay.
Mhm.
So that's a good start for all of us because we love Manila Bay. Our
Yeah, yeah.
school is in front of Manila Bay.
Oh, yeah.
It's in
Yeah, it's in
Roxbury.
Parañaque.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's in Parañaque.
it's in
So we
Parañaque.
really have to
So
respect it.
were there a lot of young people that participated in that cleanup?
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
great.
the alumni and their families.
Yeah.
And even our office also did a cleanup in Manila Bay.
Mhm.
So that
Young people sort of, I've heard this comment a lot. Young people are sort of blaming the older generation. That's my generation about what happened to the earth, right? Because they feel that the earth is what will be our legacy to them. Do you, Riley and Casey, feel that way too? Do you sort of blame the older generation, the generation of your lolas and lolas, your
Like, I'm not
parents?
blaming your generation, Christina.
Hey, Jen.
Okay, you want to
So
start with
do you
Casey?
feel that we are kind of remiss?
I think that the younger generation is right to be angry, and it
Yay!
is in part that the older generation should take responsibility. But I don't think that younger people should be hating on them because it's not something they can take back now. So I think as a whole, all of us should work together to, you know,
Correct. Thank you, Casey. Riley, what do you think?
Yeah, I totally agree with everything that Casey said. I think there's like a justifiable amount of anger about like older generations kind of knowing that what they're doing wasn't great for the environment, but doing it anyway. But I feel like the anger really is more towards the people that were in power during the past, not really
Mhm,
during just like our
mhm.
lolos and lolas, like the people today who are in power, the people in the past, like the people who could have actually done
That's
something to
something. Yeah,
change but chose not to. I think that's where the anger is.
yeah, that's right.
So, what's the consensus about, I mean, our generation about climate change? Do you think it's real, not real, or we really can't do anything about it? I mean, how much can we actually make a difference to change a little, temperature setting? I mean, I think that was the mindset of the older generation until recently. Then we see, hurricanes here, fires, and everywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think when we see a lot of people angry and not taking action, sometimes that turns people off. But then when you see optimism from a younger generation who said, okay, we're done being angry, now we have to do something and actually figure out what we have to do. We're not just blah blah blah, we gotta make this, we gotta do that. We actually have to create something. I mean, do a book about like what a person, like a fictional character saying that you could save the planet, or do a play about it, or just create a weekend of going out and picking up the trash by the river, or just by the park, or by the beach. So what was my question again?
Like, is there like kind of consensus among your generation of this situation?
Correct. So, is Rachelle thinking, are you millennial? Do you fall under that generation? Millennial.
Rachelle is kind of in the middle.
Yeah, from New York.
I feel like I'm in the middle. Yeah, I feel like I'm in the middle.
So what are they talking about in New York?
Well, I haven't been in that space. I feel like that if you're not involved in that space, it's kind of like out of sight, out of mind. But for me, when I listen to the news, I do hear of the frustration of the younger generation, and using the older generation as a scapegoat, but to also, like, who is going to be responsible for it if it's not us as the younger generation? Like, what do we do now? Like, okay, you're mad, now what do we do? What do you want us to do? Do you want us to just stop all cars? Do you want us to all become vegans? Like, what is your ask, and is it possible? A lot of people, like when you were talking about Boracay, a lot of people were like, no way, it's impossible to close Boracay. It's the most beautiful island in the planet. Like, how can you close it and stop tourism? It's impossible. And then they did it. The government forced people to stop going to Boracay. And I think that those types of dramatic steps really make a difference. And now that you visit Boracay, it's not filled with trash. You could actually see beautiful water. So I feel like that there's a disconnect between the generation. Yeah, but I feel like that without people being angry, you're not going to get any reaction. So there has to be a balance of angriness and also empathy.
Was it Riley or Casey? I don't remember now, who said that officials should be doing more. Recently we had a Glasgow summit where world leaders gathered and talked about the environment, and they made commitments to decarbonize their countries, their territories. Are you following up on that development, and what do you think of this? Is that a good idea, or is this just another talking club? What do you think? Riley or Casey?
Casey, you want to start?
Oh, Casey?
Sure.
Yeah.
I haven't been following up much on that, but I did hear about it. I think that they do have the power to make some change.
They do.
Whether or not they've done that, I think that we should still continue to be optimistic towards them. But I also think that, like you mentioned with the government in Boracay, they should be prepared to make some dramatic changes.
Yeah.
What about you, Riley?
Riley?
Yeah, I agree. I think that dramatic is the way to do it. I think we really do need to take really big steps if we want to hope to save the planet. Like Casey, I only know a little bit about the Glasgow summit. I did hear that some representatives from the U.S. and China didn't show up because
I think the U.S. was there.
Yeah, well, I know there's this one specific senator who he didn't want to because like
Yeah, I think Russia was not there. Yeah.
Russia.
yeah, but like
Mhm.
I
Just
forget
want to
I
say
forget which state he
Christina's in Beijing.
but like all of his voters are people who are involved in like coal mining, so
Yeah, yeah.
like he can promise it, but then just like then he won't get reelected, and then like so I like the politics of it are kind of exhausting because you have
Mm,
people in power who want to do something, but you also they have to stay in power, and just it gets a little tiring sometimes because
that's
sometimes
right.
you just want like everyone to just go forward and try to reduce carbon emissions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Fabio, oh, sorry. Oh, go ahead, Jen.
I mean, it is frustrating that the leaders, we can't really trust them. But then we have private organizations or people like us, I think, who can make a better difference than the politicians. But although there's a new bill that sometimes I think just recently passed in the House that adds a little bit of analyzing the carbon footprint. So a little bit sometimes we could get a compromised policy, but I still believe like on anything else it's the people, it's us who can really make a big difference. But going back to Christina's question, Cabio, if you want to say something.
I want to ask Cabio. Cabio, is the environment political issue in the elections, in the coming elections? Is that a big
Um,
issue?
Actually, it's not yet a topic, but I think
Oh,
people should make it as an issue.
mhm,
They should be able to choose the senators
mhm.
or the congressman who would pursue a support to climate change, because this is really uh, an issue that we should look into. And since we are voting for a new uh, s- government for 2022, we should always consider this as a voter.
Mhm. Correct.
I mean, we're almost close to a few minutes before closing, and I just want to before we end, I want to hear more. I mean, we have Casey from Texas, we have Riley from New York, we have Christina from Beijing, we have um, Rachelle from New York. I'm in New Jersey, and we have
Wow,
Cabio.
this feels
We have
like a
Cabio,
summit.
we have Cabio in the Philippines. We have our own summit here. And just briefly, just say something that I think we're raising awareness. What else, if, in case we missed just few minutes of your thoughts, to say what else can we do? We'll start with Christina.
Oh, me? I thought you were asking the panel. What have I done for the planet? I'm not sure, but um, I turn off lights when I leave the room. I unplug, and I do a lot of walking, really small things. And I am not vegan yet, but I may just try it.
Very
That's
good. How
all
about
I've
you?
done so far.
Good. How about you, Rochelle?
I think my responsibility will be to my son. I want to make sure that I set up a good example for him, and
Hmm.
that is a pressure as a new parent to make sure that he does his best by following in my good example. So similar to what Christina said, yes, I will follow that minus being vegan. But I will definitely try to make a good example of having reusable items.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Good. How about you, Cabio from the Philippines?
In the Philippines, with my org and with my company, little by little, we have some activities that I would spearhead to ensure that we will really support and do our thing to little ways to support to save the earth. So we will have talks to the children, to the
Hmm.
students during our ABC project. We can talk about the uh, being
All
conscientious to
right.
save
What are
the
we?
earth.
Thank you. What about you, Riley? High school from New York.
Yeah, okay, I'm ready this time. I do use public transportation mostly.
Hmm.
Well, it's only 5 blocks away, so it's really not. I just walk there. Um,
Hmm.
it really makes a difference to just not participate in fashion trends, like buy clothes that you know you're going to wear and reuse those clothes. Thrift, all of that's really great. And even if you don't go vegan, just like buying your meat from like local sellers, that's
Mhm.
great. Or going pescatarian or vegetarian. It's like whatever you can do like helps. I mean, we just have to remember that we're not really the ones responsible for the
Great.
food.
Great. Lastly, Casey.
I suppose I'll continue to recycle, reuse, and mostly raising awareness in my own community and in my high school. I can also support larger organizations that pick up trash in the ocean or plant trees as well.
Thank you. We're run out of time. That's it for our panel. And to our guests and cast crew, maraming salamat. Until next time. So ulitin, but before we conclude, let's hear from our guest, the performer, Kelsey Vasquez of Chester, New Jersey. She's a senior at West Morris Central High School, and through her music, she hopes to advocate for social justice and environmental change. So let's hear from Kelsey. Thanks, everyone.
How come it doesn't snow on Christmas like it did before? How come the polar ice caps are now melting to the floor? We've seen it so many times all over the news, but we still pretend like we don't have a clue. And seeing the world end is probably what it takes for everyone to understand that everything's at stake. But by the time the world ends, it'll be too late. Do we have to see the world end to realize our mistakes? Plastic beaches, forest fires, flooded homes, so aren't you tired of breathing in the chemicals? Another species yet to go. We've seen it so many times all over the news, but we still pretend like there's nothing we can do. And seeing the world end is probably what it takes for everyone to understand that everything's at stake. But by the time the world ends, it'll be too late. Do we have to see the world end to fix our mistakes?
As a member of Eco Youth here in our place and as a future educator someday, I promise to do something in order to conserve and restore our beautiful planet.